Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Infinite Abilities Podcast. I am your host, Nick Yerhart, and we are here to encourage each other to find our own unique abilities. Let's go. All right, so today we have Tammy Vincent. Me and Tammy last talked, I think, about 8 months ago. It's been a while, but we finally made this happen, and I'm excited. So, Tammy, can you just tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Okay, well, thank you first for having me, Nick. I appreciate you having me on. So, my name is Tammy Vincent, like you said, and I'm a speaker, an author, a writer, a podcast host, and mostly I deal with adult children of alcoholics and dysfunctional families. So,
Okay.
I do a lot of mindset work and a lot of just positive thinking and just getting people to where they want to be really in life.
hmm And that's what we all want to do is get to where we want to be. So I love that the people like you and me out there trying to help others get to the next step in their life where they can start to go down the journey that they want to go down.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, you're a podcast host. What is the name of your podcast?
The name of my podcast is Adult Child of Dysfunction Thriving After Chaos.
Oh, that sounds like a good podcast.
Yeah.
And do you have guests on your show?
I do. I have all kinds of guests. I have experts in like the field as far as psychologists, therapists, healers of any kind, really. We have sound baths on there. I also have people that just have a story to share that, were kind of on one side, had a rough childhood, and really came out on the other side by learning how to deal with the adversity, and people that want to share what they did to get on the other side. So it's a story, it's all hope and healing. I don't want it to be a woe is me. I want it to be I went through some junk and this is where I am now.
I love that, and I do that a lot on my show too. We do talk about what we've gone through and how we overcome things and how we got to the next level in our life. And yeah, it's amazing the stories that you hear. And what's really awesome is everybody's story can help somebody else. So
Yes.
now
And go ahead. I'm sorry.
you go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and just when people understand that they can tell their story and that they are helping other people, it wakes everybody up. Like they get it, the people listening are like, "Wow, I can talk about my story and I'm not being judged and I'm not being condemned and oh my gosh, I'm not alone."
Exactly. And speaking of stories, what is Tammy's story? How did Tammy get to where she's at now?
Well, it started kind of rough. So both my parents were alcoholics. My mother was a fairly what I call non-functioning alcoholic, very abusive, very neglectful, very hateful, but at the same time struggling in her own ways. And my father was also an alcoholic. So I just grew up really not understanding some of the bigger concepts of life. Like when I went to have a child, I didn't understand unconditional love. When I went to date men, I didn't understand boundaries. I mean, there were so many things I just didn't get just because my parents were fighting their own demons and weren't really there to guide me properly, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and we all, go through things that when we're children, and unfortunately, a lot of those bad things we drag with us our whole life. And it's it's always good when somebody can hire a coach or a consultant, or whatever you want to call it, or a therapist to help them work through what they went through as a child. Because a lot of times you don't even realize it. You don't realize you're carrying baggage and it's really shaping the life that you're living. And I know for me, I go through that with my clients. It's like we figure out usually it's like one or two things that happened as a child that shaped your whole life. And it's always amazing when you can work with a client to figure out what that thing was, and then they realize that's not who they are. That is not a part of them. They can change who they thought that they were. And it's just like it's amazing just to go through that with somebody else.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because a lot of times you don't know. You just grow up and you think that the way things are, one, you either think that that's just the way it was meant to be because of your childhood, or two, you don't know any better. So you think it's normal. I remember a good example is when I started going out and meeting people and having relationships, and every single person I met treated me poorly. And I was just used to that. I was used to being made feel little. So that I thought that was normal until finally a friend said to me, "Tammy, you don't have to let people talk to you that way." I was like, "Really?" I was like, "That's kind of cool." But you don't know. You're so used to it being your norm that you just assume that's the way it's supposed to be. So I love that I can help people now get out of that. And a lot of the people that I talk to aren't even really aware. Like, I'll say one thing on a podcast and then they'll message me and go, "Oh my gosh, that's so me, and I never even put it together
Yep.
that that's why I do what I do." And that's a good
Yeah,
feeling.
it really is. I experience that too with what I do in my podcast, my social media posts. People are always like, "This helped me so much today." And a lot of times, what they say that their biggest takeaway or that one thing that changed, how they thought about themselves, you look at it yourself like, "Oh, I didn't think that was gonna, have a big impact," but it does, and that's why it's so important to tell your story because it can help others.
Yes. And it's also very healing every time you get it
Mhm.
out of your body. I mean, we store all of these feelings, all of these memories, all of this stuff, it's all stored in the tissues of our body. So every time we talk it out a little bit, we release a little bit more and get a little bit more out. Otherwise, you're just keeping everything pent up and stuck inside.
Yep. And as humans, we tend to drag our past along with us and look at the past and regret things. And, we gotta start looking more towards the future. You know, there's a reason why when you're driving a car, your windshield is huge and your rearview mirror is small. That's because what's behind you doesn't matter nearly as much as what's in front of you.
I love that.
Yeah.
Can I use that?
Of course, go ahead. I stole it from somebody else, so you can go ahead and steal it from me.
Okay, perfect. No, and it's true. I say, I mean, I deal with a lot of people that have a lot of massive chronic stress and anxiety. And when you're little and things happen, everything seems so big because you're little. So your
Yep.
mind is it's overwhelming. And so when you're an adult, you're reacting to those things as if you're a 5-year-old, and they're really not that big. That's why when people are like, "You're so over dramatic," or people say, "Everything is such a big deal to you," most likely those people are stuck in the past and they're seeing things from that 5, 6, 7-year-old lens where everything seemed big.
Exactly, exactly. And that's so true. Because when you're little, you have a small group of people, you don't think the world is as big as it is, so anything that happens is a big deal to you. And then you
Absolutely.
grow up and you realize, like, you can let a lot go, but there's still a lot of people, like you're saying, that are stuck in their childhood. Their inner child takes over more than it should.
Yep. Absolutely. And I also just tell people, when you look at fear and anxiety and stress, it's either stress because of or anxiety because of something that happened in the past and your memory of it, or it's catastrophizing about something that's going to happen in the future because of your history of what happened in the past. So it's like, come to the present, like be in the present moment and look at it. And I tell people, no matter how bad it is, an emotion, a thought is going to pass in about 90 seconds. So just stay in that present moment. I think grounding and being 100% present is one of the biggest skills you can acquire.
Yeah, definitely. And our our fears take over a lot more than we should allow them. Because like we're only born with two fears: the fear of falling and the fear of loud noises. Every other fear is learned. So, like I know, like for me and what I've gone through, I realized that a lot of the things that I've been afraid of in my life, like if you sit and ask yourself why, and you do that like 7 times. Like you say, okay, why am I afraid of failing at business, and then you answer that, and then you ask yourself that again. Okay, now that I have that answer, ask it again. You'll get down to a point where you're like, why am I afraid of this at all? Like, because it's all made up basically. Like, we don't have to be afraid of most things. Now there are things that you should be afraid of, like, you know, a tiger or something. But
Right.
like our day-to-day fears, we can let a lot of those go and focus on the positive. And once you can make that mental shift, your whole life changes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's such a good, it's such a good thing to be able to look back and be like, wow, I was afraid of this or I was afraid of that. And someone said to me one time the opposite of love is hate. And I was like, no, I think the opposite of love is fear. Because you're either loving things or you're afraid to embrace them.
Definitely.
It's yeah, it's a nice mind shift to be able to make, to be able to look at the good and the positive and everything.
Yeah, yeah, it is. And when you're working with your clients, would you say your top three tips are for overcoming?
One is be able to feel your emotions and know where you're feeling them in your body, because then you can address that specifically. Like if you know that when you get angry that you feel it as a gut punch in your stomach, then you can breathe. I always call it just breathing that positive energy into that part of your body. I think everything is held in our body. So that's my biggest thing, is being aware of where you feel things in your body so that you can address them. I think the next thing would be journal or talk into a microphone, or, do something to get your thoughts and your feelings out of your body. So whether it's writing on paper, talking into a microphone just to talk and record, or whatever it is, get it all out, because the longer you keep stuff stuck inside of you, the longer it's going to fester. And the next thing I think is just to find somebody you trust that's going to guide you to a point where you feel 100% worthy of all these good things. Because so many of us have these underlying beliefs from when we were a child and somebody told us we were no good or lazy or ugly or whatever it was. We were told these things, they stick up here, and then we react from them. So I took it from a psychologist. I don't remember their name, but they said, a good test is just ask yourself, what's my favorite food, and see how that feels to you. And, when you picture your favorite food, Nick, right? You get happy, you get excited, you're like, oh, I love this. And then say to yourself, I deserve all good things, and sit with that. Because if you get like a tension in your neck or a clench in your jaw or a gut, a little tightness in your stomach, you don't truly at the bottom of your core believe that you deserve all good things, and you will sabotage yourself the rest of your life. So
Yeah.
it's like a quick fix to know, like, do I have some exploring to do? And not judgment, not being mad at yourself, beating yourself up, but just exploring and being curious. So
And I love that because your thoughts do create your future.
mhm.
The more negative things that you're focusing on, the more negative things that you're going to see in your life. And this might sound crazy to some people, but let me tell you, it is so true because I've kind of gone up and down in my mindset, or like I'll be really good, really positive. I'll be all about the next thing, and then you'll hit a wall where you kind of start to go backwards again, and then I start to have these negative thoughts. Well, the more I sit and think about them and worry about things and all of that, the more down I go, and it's not until I can stop to journal and talk things out is when I start going back up again. Because you gotta get that stuff out of your mind. And one thing that I like to do is, you know, y- your first thought that you have, it comes from your subconscious. You can't really control it, but you can change it. And over time, you can learn to control it. So, like, what I do is when I have a negative thought, I first recognize it. You gotta be aware of it. So recognize, okay, why am I thinking this? And then just change it to something. positive, like an opposite of that. And the more you do this every day, the easier it gets, and then it just becomes normal, and you can just have way more negative thought or way more positive thoughts than negative thoughts over time.
Love it. I just call it when I use talk to my clients, I call it the nip it in the bud. Like the
Yeah.
minute you have that thought, because it takes a minute for a thought to set into your mind. Like,
Uh-huh.
so it's like you get it, like you said, be aware of it immediately and then change the thought or challenge it. Why did I
Yeah.
say that? Because like I love that you said the spiral thing, because that's what happens. You think this one thought, like, let's say you spill something and you think to yourself, Tammy, you're so clumsy. And then the next thing, if you don't go, I'm not clumsy, I just made a mistake. Like, I'm human. If you don't stop that thought, then it's going to be, oh my gosh, I'm always making mistakes. Oh my gosh, I do everything wrong. And the next thing you know, you're this horrible person for doing something so human and so simple. But if you nip it right in the beginning, you stop that whole spiral. I love that you
Yeah.
brought that up. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so true. So true. Now, I know that you're an amazing author. How many books have you written?
Just the 2, and it's kind of a funny story. I'm actually banned on Amazon, but I sell
What?
books anyway. I know, crazy story. We could get into
Uh,
that, but it's AI. I love AI and I hate AI. So it's
yep.
one of those. It actually took the title of the book, which was Surviving Alcoholic Parents, and cross referenced it with the picture, which was a mom and dad arguing, the child off to the side, but the dad was holding like a wine bottle or something, was my original cover, and somehow AI took the cover and took the title and said I was condoning child abuse. But you can't
Uh,
get anybody at Amazon to open it and actually read the book. So they
yep.
banned me. I was like, whatever, I'll just get it printed somewhere else. But the name of, so you can buy it on my website because I just have to have them printed somewhere else. But the name of the book is Surviving Alcoholic Parents, a Teen's ABC Guide to Thriving in a World of Chaos. And it's literally an ABC guide. Like Z stands for Zen, and A stands for addiction, and B stands for blackout drunks. It's all the things that I didn't understand as a child that I wish someone had told me.
That's
So
that's amazing that you put into a book to help others, and that's huge. And what is your website so they can go find it?
it's just my name,
Okay.
tammyvincent.com. So,
Just like my website,
yep.
nickyhurt.com.
Yeah,
Easy.
you don't get any more simple than that. People can't
No.
lose it if they know my name.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. And what is your other book?
The other one is Helping Children of Alcoholics, and it's an educator's guide to identifying and empowering disconnected youth. So
Okay.
it's actually for teachers
Uh-huh.
to, I have like this method called the Thrive method. And it's really just ways to educate the teachers on how to identify children that are struggling without calling them out. So it's all about empowering everybody as a whole and doing group activities that encourage everybody without having to look around a room and say, "Ooh, that one's really struggling, but how do I get to her?" So it's like it's just a whole process that I kind of used when I was teaching to really empower the whole classroom as a whole and to build trust and camaraderie in the classroom.
That's amazing. And I know I have a lot of teachers that listen to this. So guys, get that book. It will help you a lot, and it will, I bet it will help you to realize a lot of things that you would never thought about. You know, I love the saying, "You don't know what you don't know."
And that is why we have coaches, therapists, all these people out there, because like I said, your norm is your norm. And until, for the people that are listening, um, until you know and somebody makes you acutely aware that there is better out there, or if you don't feel like you're exactly where you want to be, it takes somebody to walk along beside you to help you understand what you don't know.
Yeah,
I was
definitely.
clueless.
Yeah, look, for me in my journey, 4 or 5 years ago, I knew that I wanted more. I was working a job. It was good, but I had something missing, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna start my own business. And it took a coach to help me realize that I should be a coach myself. And I'm so grateful for that. But it's you gotta take that first step. You gotta put it out into the world that you want more. You may not know what it is yet, but just put it out there, like, and you deserve more. That's another thing is people don't think that they deserve more, and I don't care who you are, you deserve more. You know,
Yep. If you're not 100% happy, when people come to my podcast, if they're listening to a podcast called Adult Child of Dysfunction, they're looking for better answers. They're
definitely.
not 100% happy, or they would just skip right over that and go, that's not me.
Mm. Yep, definitely. And I tell people, if at first, like, you gotta understand that you want more, and then if you can figure out what your purpose is in life, that's gonna help so much. And if you don't know your purpose, then you should wake up every morning with the intention to find your purpose. Because once you know, like, how you gonna, help people, or how you gonna help your family or live a bit better life, once you know that, that becomes your why, and then the how will reveal itself over time.
Absolutely. And a lot of people wake up, if you're some people have no clue. And I try to encourage people, don't beat yourself up about that either, because sometimes you don't even know. And it's like, I tell people, what lights you up? Like, what makes you happy? Is it scooping up a caterpillar on the side of the road and putting it off in the grass so it doesn't get hurt? Maybe you're meant to help animals. Like, you don't
Hmm.
know what it is, but it's the things that light you up are the paths that you have to follow. If it doesn't make you happy, if it's not fun to you, if it's not enjoyable, don't do it.
Yep, exactly, exactly, and that's why I most of my time is spent helping others with their podcast, because I started my podcast a little over a year ago, and I absolutely love this. It's like, all right, let's help more people experience how awesome this is.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, you
yeah,
helped me getting on here.
yep,
The minute
yep,
we got on, you helped me, so
yep. I was like, there's something wrong. Let's fix this.
yeah, I
And,
appreciate it.
that's just over time, you just kinda you pick up on things, and it's you really discover what you're good at, as time goes on.
And if you're looking for someone, I guess I wanna add a little boost in there too. If you're looking for that therapist, that coach, that helper, that mentor, find somebody that has been through what you've been through, that understands and resonates with you. I mean, the biggest thing you want when you're having someone that is literally guiding you and helping you is somebody that really understands. I remember my first client, she said to me, Tammy, I've been going to therapy for 11 years. And in 18 minutes, you told me more about why I am the way I am. And I said, because I was you. I get it. So, do somebody that's been through it, that's gone through what you've gone through. And there's nothing against people that haven't. I'm just saying, if you really want to make that transformation and you want somebody that understands you like the back of your hand.
Mhm. Definitely. I agree with those so much. And, there's a difference between a coach and a mentor. A coach is there to, basically hold your hand through everything. A mentor, I feel like, is more somebody you look up to, somebody that you watch. You don't have to know them personally at all. And my mentors, they have the life that I want. So it's good to have that visual, like, okay, I want that. You know, pay attention to the things that they do every day, so then you can, you know, become the person that can have what they have.
Exactly. Exactly. And act like that person already. Sometimes that helps too.
Yep, definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
And it's not even like some people, well, fake it until you make it. I don't like that. It's like,
No.
don't fake it. Just be the person that you want to be. And that might be a totally different person than you were yesterday. And guess what? You have no obligation to be the same person that you were yesterday. You can change who you are, amen. But just change it to the person that you want to be. And, just be authentically you. And once you can embrace who you are and be yourself, your whole life improves.
Oh, yeah. And
Yeah.
it starts little. It starts very
Mhm.
little because, like you said, some people don't even know who they are. I didn't know who I was. I was 26 years old and I remember them saying, "Well, what do you like to do?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And it was like I was looking around for someone to tell me, "What do I like to do?" And it took a long time to really find out who I was. But that's why, I'm such a big proponent of using your instinct. If it doesn't feel right and it doesn't feel aligned with you, it probably isn't. So listen to
Yeah.
that.
Yep. I agree with that so much. And, I'm I was the same way. I didn't know what I wanted. I just had to figure it out. And I did. You know, I figured out that I love helping people. And that's through many different forms. I have a couple books myself. I have the podcast, social media, all that. It's just I get more joy out of helping others than any amount of money will ever give me. It's all about just seeing somebody else improve.
Absolutely, and I love the name of your podcast, The Infinite
Thank
Abilities.
you.
I think that's so cool. That's what
Well, speaking of that, I gotta ask you the thing, a question that I ask everyone, and that is, my slogan is, "Your abilities are infinite." What does that mean to you?
it means that it's endless. If you want something, if you truly want something, desire something, wanna do something, there is no stopping you. I've seen people do such amazing things with what from the outside would look impossible, and
Mhm.
the impossible is definitely possible. I'm possible. So
Yeah,
so it just means go for it. That don't let anybody tell you, and that's the biggest thing. The only thing stopping you from doing what you want to do and being where you want to be is yourself. You're the only one stopping you. Tune out everybody else, put your nose down and go for it, and you'll do it. If you have the right mindset and you don't sabotage yourself, you can do anything.
yep, I agree with that so much because you are the only thing stopping you. You are. And I tell people all the time because this was the biggest thing that I did that really changed everything and improved everything is stop worrying about what other people are thinking of you because it doesn't matter. Live your life. Don't live your life with somebody else telling you what to do.
Yep. I remember the day that I finally decided. I said to somebody one day, I was like, they were like, "Well, they don't really like you." And I was like, "Well, what someone thinks about me is none of my business. I don't care. I
Yeah.
don't care. I like me. That's all that
Mm-hmm.
matters. I like me. And I know
Yeah.
that I'm not ever hurting anybody intentionally. So
Mm-hmm.
as long as I like me, I'm okay."
I agree with that so much. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for sharing all this wisdom with us. I know you've helped so many people today.
Yes, you're welcome. I appreciate you.
All right, Timmy. Thank you for being on the show. It was really great. If you enjoyed this show, please go ahead and share it on your Instagram story and tag me in it, the Nick Yerhart. Also, go ahead and share it anywhere else that you see fit, because the only way that I can grow this is by you guys sharing it. I don't sell anything on here. I don't have any sponsors, so let's just get it out there by word of mouth and help more people. Alright, everyone, remember your abilities are infinite.